This side, chin. Please. And on this one.
Now you're well done.
You guys don't even need me here. Okay, so how to deal with 100,000 friends. First, let's start with whoever's on the panel. I think we have a few stragglers that will be showing up in a little bit, but let's start with you. I can't even hear you. I don't even know what you're saying. You said you look like a black, yeah. I'm going to ask her what her favorite day is.
It is a Friday. You all know these jokes.
I feel the best thing to do is when she comes in, we go, have you been partying? And then we go, please sit down.
I feel like that might be the worst thing to do.
Molly, you're supposed to be on here.
Alright, so let's go down the road. Tell people who, oh, Molly. Hey, welcome to the party. We'll go down and tell people who you are, what you do. Steps. Let's go.
Hey, I'm Dan Brown. I've been putting videos on the internet since 2007. I taught many people to solve a Rubik's Cube video blog, and now I am a host for Fuse, the music network. That's what I do.
Hey everyone, I'm Nathan Owens, known as ahoynateo on YouTube. I basically just make videos of whatever, I guess. Random humor, maybe some would consider it crude humor, but yeah, I've been doing that since 2009, so.
Hello, I'm Jack Howard, and I make sketch comedy with the guy with hair. Been doing that since we were like 15 years old, and some people like it, and that's nice.
Hi, I'm Dobbs. I do YouTube sketches with my boyfriend Jack Howard. He fails to mention it every single time. But yeah, that's basically it. So.
It's okay. Hi, I'm Templeton. I meet Molly on YouTube, and I'm also the director of talent and audience development for my own channel, and I manage people like Daily Grace.
So, you're so well spoken. So we'll go down the road again. But was there a moment where you had just like a huge flood of viewers, and how did you deal with that?
Well, for me it was, I mean, obviously the Rubik's Cube tutorial went viral very shortly after I uploaded it. But then I went back to normal video blogging, and you know, none of those went like viral. I would get 1,000 views or so. The real moment where it kind of clicked for me was the 7, 8, 9 YouTube gathering. I did not expect anyone there to particularly know who I was, and as soon as I was within seeing distance, I was mobbed a little bit. So that was very life-affirming and wonderful.
I would have to say that when I just saw a flood of viewers come in, or a flood of subscribers, it would have to be, it was on my main channel actually with my best friend. It had been after he had done a video with Shane Dawson. It was called Pissed Off, and basically all of his subscribers kind of found us and liked us, so that's where I saw the biggest flood of viewers.
Well, for us, it hasn't really been like a flood of viewers. Do you want to go more?
Yes, cool.
It hasn't been like a flood of viewers that we've had. It's been like basically like just step by step. Like we've just got more and more because we keep making things that we find funny. So
We get much better each time.
yeah, and therefore like people find us more. And we have friends within other circles and friends that are more popular than us. So did you just wink at somebody?
Yeah, Tom.
Oh. Hello. Tom is one of the people I'm it's really awkward. Yeah, like Tom is one of the people that we made friends with quite early on, and we worked with him and he worked with us, and it's just like that sort of collaboration that kind of got us going more.
My first influx of viewers on YouTube personally was because YouTube used to have a featured edited front page, and Hi.
Welcome, Rebecca Black.
Finally made it. There was a lot of traffic, so sorry about that. Anyways, yeah. Wait, let's okay. No, the first time I really noticed it was when I made a video and I got like 300 video responses or something like that in 2007, and I was like, what? This is such a cool community. Let's have conversations and so on. Introduce yourself, Rebecca. Hi, I'm Rebecca Black, and I made a video a couple of years ago, over 2 years ago now, named Friday. Hopefully at least one of you has, and yeah.
All right, so since Rebecca, we haven't asked her anything yet. So were you expecting Friday to do what it did when it did what it did? Too many kids, I'm sorry. I just went with it.
But no, like, I made that video so my mom and my dad and my friends at school could see it. I mean, I had no idea. I mean, I would have to say that I guess if I expected it to go the way it did, I probably would have done something else. Really?
No.
Thank you. I mean, I just didn't really, it got like 3,000 views, which was amazing for me, and then obviously got a lot more, but yeah, no, there's no way I could have ever expected what it did.
And how did you deal with, because I mean, it went massively viral very quickly. What was the craziest part of that whole experience? Because it had to have been overwhelming.
I mean, I don't think there was ever really a chance that I had to deal with it until now, 2 years later. Everything just kind of went so quickly and huge things were happening. I think the craziest thing for me was probably not only being in Katy Perry's music video last Friday night, but then also getting to perform with her at Nokia in LA. So having to be able to like, not even just see her for 1 day, but 2. That's so cool, that's so cool.
And obviously something like when you get a huge, boost in fans and stuff like that, privacy becomes kind of a concern. Like what are some of the things that people can do as their channel grows to make sure that, because I've heard stories of like people showing up on your doorstep, people finding where you live, like we'll start with you, what is something that you've done or you can do that you know of to kind of counteract that? Not you yet. We'll get to you. You don't worry.
Well, there are many very basic things. I mean, you can just set up two-step verification.
I love it.
Change your password regularly. I think the most important philosophical thing on that front is understanding what you do and don't owe anyone. It's one thing to engage in dialogue with any individual fan, but if things ever seem like they're crossing a line, there's no shame in cutting it off.
Right.
You don't owe them anything.
Right. He owes you nothing.
It's just true.
I would say your best defense against people like that, 2 words, mustache disguise.
Mustache.
Glasses. Yeah. I would just say you just have to be careful, obviously, just like you wouldn't tell some shady person on the street where you live. Maybe just go a little bit further than that and just like never tell anyone where you live. And it also helps to not have friends. Like they won't tell. No friends. Nobody will say anything. So other than that, it's just like I don't know. Just be smart about it. Like just know when you can tell people and when you can't. So
We've never had that problem. People showed up on doorstep, have we?
No, someone knows where my home address is though.
That's me.
I saw this tweet and they were like, oh, I found it on a website. And I was like, well, my mum and dad live there, right? Don't. So if you want to go hang with them and see them grow tomatoes, then whatever. So, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, just discussion and maybe even stretching it further than you think that you need to. Like if you're taking Instagram pictures and there's a location that is somewhere near where you live, maybe think about it. And like if you can see street signs, maybe don't post that. And I think that goes beyond just like your location or your family information. That's about like your personal information. Maybe no one needs to know that you have a boyfriend or a husband, that you're married, those kinds of things. You can set your own boundaries and just stick to them, whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's like if you have a boundary from the start, don't ever feel pressured to kind of lose that. Or if you have a ton of people asking, oh, they find out you have a boyfriend, do the boyfriend tag that is oh so popular, Don't feel like you have to do it just to please your viewers if you're not comfortable with it, or else you'll end up, maybe sharing way too much than you thought you would, or then it just ends up backlashing.
And when you, as your channel grows and you become a bigger channel, you have brands reaching out to you, you have people trying to, more of the business end comes into it. We'll start with you because it's just, I like things to go the same. Left to right, that's how I do it.
I would like change.
I would never do that to you. and networks are starting to become more and more common. Everyone's talking about should you not join a network. How necessary do you think it is as your channel gets big to network up and have help managing your channel?
I think it really just depends on what you're after. What networks are best for is monetizing further, and that's really where the common thread stops for all networks. From there on, it kind of varies from network to network what sort of support they provide. But in terms of helping you deal with, many 100,000 new friends, the best person you can trust is yourself. Your gut.
And read, just read. That's all I want you all to do. Read the contracts, please.
Ever have a lawyer?
Yeah, I definitely agree with what Dan said. You just gotta go with your gut, kind of like what you feel is best. But I know that a lot of people on YouTube will get maybe opportunities that come up to like promote themselves and other people, and it's kind of unfortunate that perhaps people will see it as selling out. So it's like you really have to be like cautious about what you accept and what you don't accept, because like your fan base is everything, and if they don't approve of you, then you've got nothing basically. So
I think that the idea of networks is becoming too strong, not to put networks down or anything, but a lot of people will always say, oh, what's the best sort of network to be on? Why should I be on a network? And all sorts of stuff. When really it seems like a lot of audience, people who want to start videos, have kind of forgotten that you should just make videos. Like, we aren't signed with a network or anything like that, and that's not to say that that's the best way of doing it or the worst way of doing it. But we just want to make things, and nothing has seemed appropriate enough yet for us to kind of sign something. And like it was saying, don't just sign something away. Like, make sure you read things and stuff like that. And if something's right for you, it might not be right for somebody else. So just make sure you're making good stuff that you want to make, and things will be fine. Don't think so much about the business side of it and the money side of it, because that will just kind of come with it. And if that's your main focus, then making videos is not what you should be doing.
Well, if I can jump in, there's one point that I neglected to make. Right now, I am not signed to a network, and I've spent a lot of time trying to just kind of find what I want to be on YouTube at this point in my life. And so if you're in a period of flux, redefining yourself, I think it's good to give yourself as much space as possible. Because anytime you sign a contract, that is kind of by definition setting new parameters for what you can and can't do. But once you find something and you are comfortable with it and doing it consistently, then there's no reason not to, really. It's just a little bit more money. So.
I guess when I'm thinking about audiences in relation to YouTube networks, I'm not, when I consume like your videos, I'm never thinking about the fact that you're not with a network, or that maybe you are with a network, or I don't know if you are either, like that. It kind of doesn't go outward, so I feel like maybe that's not a concern for your audience. Maybe a couple of years ago it was, like if you're a maker artist, that was like a cool thing. But now it just doesn't seem like that's not part of your brand. I care about Chris Thompson, not.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree, and the most important thing I think when it comes to networking and signing with a network or signing any contract that has to do with you or your channel, like, read it. Trust me, coming from a 15-year-old teenager, reading contracts is not fun. But there have definitely been times where I wish I had looked into things more, whether it was at the beginning or whenever. It just, you have to be so careful, and like they say, when you sign a contract, it's giving you boundaries for what you can and can't do, and you want to make sure that you'll always be okay with that for however long the contract goes on for, or whoever you're signing for.
And just to surmise all this, we talked about like networks and brand deals and all this stuff. In the end, just remember you're a content creator. You can focus on all those other things, but really you want to focus on making your audience happy, being the most genuine person that you can. Don't do something because it's just popular. Do something because you love it, and the audience will come. And then if you need help, then consider your options. But remember, I think people forget as YouTube becomes more of a business, this is supposed to be fun, right? We're supposed to have a good time while we're doing this. So keep that in mind, and don't really worry about it too much. We're gonna open it up for questions. Anyone have any questions for anybody in the panel? Nobody has any questions? Go.
I know it's kind of a normal question to ask, but when you guys are trying to make a video and you're kind of like, you're blocked or whatever, I forgot how to say it. But how would you deal with it? Like, when you're creating a block, how would you get inspiration?
Can everyone hear what she's saying? Sorry. She said, whoa. The question was, how do you deal with a creative block, is pretty much what you're saying? Go ahead.
Well, I keep an evergreen brainstorm list, so I'm always kind of writing down ideas, and even if it doesn't make sense to do it this week, maybe 3 months from now it will. And I mean, I don't know, browse the internet, browse news websites. One very great tool is Google Hot Trends. You see what people are searching for, and if lots of people are searching for it, they're more likely to search for your video. Yeah, I don't know, the inspiration is out there, you just have to go and find it. And also, don't be afraid to, never let fear of a video being bad prevent you from doing it. You are always going to be more critical than anyone else, so.
I think that maybe losing sight of your inspiration, like, at least for me, when you get creative block or writer's block or whatever it may be, I find that, like, watching somebody that you look up to, like, for me it would be people like Dane Cook or like Nick Stolzen, people like that, like, they kind of like remind you how fun it is to be funny, or like, for me, how fun it is to be funny. Like, maybe for somebody else it would be looking up a cooking show like Rachel Ray, but I don't know. Yeah, I think for me it's just like really going back to your inspiration and like just reminding yourself like why you do it and like why it's fun. So.
Well, what do we do when we get like I guess we kind of focus on. Well, what do we do if we get like really angry?
Yeah, we get really angry about it usually.
Yeah.
We go, why isn't this video funny?
Yeah.
Why is it not getting funny?
Things get broken.
I suppose it's get passionate about it.
Yeah.
And if you want it to work, get really angry, and then usually out of your frustration you'll say something completely ridiculous. And you'll go, oh, that was funny.
Yeah, like a lot of the times we will start thinking about, like, if we're thinking on one particular idea, a lot of the times you can go too... What was I saying? Yeah, so a lot of the times you'll be focused on something too much that you'll forget about why you liked it in the first place. And then I would say, like, what we do sometimes is we'll think about something totally different, or we'll go off for a tangent, and then somebody will say something, and that will spark a new idea, and then we'll put that away, and then come back to the one we were talking about before. So it's like this, never focused on something like individually. It's always kind of outwards. It's kind of like just reaching out and just grabbing little things. But yeah, anger is the key.
All right, the Incredible Hulk.
You should sing it.
I think I have two suggestions for advice for this. The first one is like find your fans, follow your fans back, and see what they're already talking about. They're hanging out on Tumblr and Twitter already, talking about what other else they're interested in. And when you become a fan of them, you can learn what topics they're into, what's going on that day, and then custom your content to that. And the other one is just left my head completely. So
Mimi Molly, everybody.
It was never too.
I'd say, if all else fails, definitely what I notice helps, and I've done this before, and I have not uploaded one of them, but it helps, is to just sit in front of a camera and talk. No matter about what it's about, if it's about something you don't even want to share, it just helps kind of get it out of your system. And it can lead to something really cool, really exciting, or funny,
I agree with that, actually, because a lot of the times I think that creative block is sometimes laziness. So like, you can't be asked to actually do something. So I think a lot of the times forcing yourself to do something creative, and then you watch it and go, yeah, that was good, I want to do more of that. And
right.
It works.
Do you guys ever find like taking a break and coming back to it later helps as well?
Yeah, like especially on edits and stuff. Like if you're editing something, you can completely lose sight of everything.
Sometimes your brain is just tired. Your brain is like, stop it, I want to stop. And so then you do, and it's like, thanks, we'll go again now.
Chris Thompson, everybody.
Thank you. I'm writing a book now. Any more questions? Are you sure? You freaked me out there. That wasn't very nice.
Do you guys like if a video? Do you like a video better like if it's scripted or?
The question was, do you like a video better if it's scripted? Now, from what, do we personally like that, or, okay, do you guys like videos that are scripted or improvised better?
Well, it depends on what sort of vlogger you are, if you even are a vlogger. Many vloggers are kind of popular just because they're very friendly and bubbly personalities, and people kind of, it's a simulated friendship almost. What I do
It's real. It's a real friendship. Sorry, guys.
It's a real one-way friendship. But I do more like op-ed pieces. I do more opinion pieces, and for those, I script them out almost word for word. So it just depends. I'd say that's the difference. If you're just putting yourself out there to put it out there, then it's more organic if it's not scripted.
Yeah, I definitely think that there's two different sides to it. I mean, when you do it just like improv, you're going to get a lot more randomness from it, and if you're scripted from it, you might, like if you're scripted, you won't have the ability to like have that randomness come in, so you might be missing out on something that could be hilarious. So I definitely think that going with improv is a lot better because you're more being yourself like that, I think. Like just like you would be talking to anyone else, just like I'm talking to you, you just have to come up with it, and like if you're scripted, then you're like thinking about it and you like might trip up or something and get frustrated. So I personally prefer improv to scripted.
Do you feel like those moments where you mess up, you know, sometimes you leave them in to make, I don't know, you feel like you have more of a connection with your viewer because you seem
They
more
see the real
real?
side of you. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. They've seen the real side of you, is like what it's all about.
I suppose in our case it's good to have scripted jokes, stuff like that, scenarios, but also leave space open for messing around. Like we filmed a new video to premiere here, and we filmed it without an ending. And in the middle of the shoot, we came up with a joke, and it's something we most certainly would not have considered when we were writing it, but because of that, we did it.
Like also as well, like it depends the sort of content you're making. So like for vlogs and stuff, like for my side channel, I will have bullet points and then let myself just kind of talk about them. But with the sketches for Dean, we always trying to give the jokes a structure so that it feels like it's going somewhere. Otherwise you're just left with a bunch of stuff and it doesn't really feel like a story or anything like that, because we're more filmmakers than just YouTubers. We're
So pretentious.
whatever. Like we have the idea of having a story arc of some sort in like 3 minutes. So it's less of just a random series of events, more of like a story that you can follow. Even though it's stupid, still a story.
Said everything. Yeah, I definitely think you did. Like you guys said, it's bullet points are your best friend when it comes to whichever you're creating. I think if you have scripted videos and that's your goal, then don't be afraid to go outside of your script if that's what you want to do. And if you don't want to script at all, you know, then don't and see what happens. But bullet points, they are so helpful. They make filming so much easier.
Yes. Any more questions? Go.
Most of the time people say, like, when you're creating something, ignore the haters. Is there ever a time, especially with such a large audience, that you need to listen to the haters, like, and take the criticism? Like, at what point is it a constructive criticism versus a hater? Sorry, my question.
So the question is basically, how can you differentiate for someone who's hating just to hate versus someone who is giving you constructive criticism?
Learning to grapple with the comments has been one of the defining narratives of the last 5 years of my life. And what you need to understand is comments follow a bell curve. This is something that I took from a Zay Frank video. It's brilliant. And so most people fall into the very large middle of the bell curve. They're not either positively or negatively affected by your video enough to feel the need to leave a comment. The only people who leave feedback are the people who are so positively affected or so negatively affected that they need to lash out. So with that in mind, if it's a fairly average amount of negative feedback, you can just ignore the haters. If the amount of negative feedback seems like it's more than would be normal for a bell curve, then maybe they actually do have a point. Maybe there's something you're not doing quite right.
That was unnecessary.
But by and large, you should not let them prevent you from doing what makes you tick. This is YouTube, not theirs.
Always consider the source. Generally, when people hate on you, just look at their channel, because generally they have little to offer. So the only job that they have or purpose in life is to hate on you, so you're helping them in a way when you think about it.
Yeah, I would say that, I mean, it's kind of obvious when you should, like, when somebody's being hateful as opposed to being constructive about it. I mean, obviously when somebody hates on me, like, you can imagine, like, the people that would, or what things people would say to me due to my appearance, but it's like, you just really have to ignore it. because it's like anything negative that's just like purely negative, all it's going to do is bring you down and not let you move forward. So I really think that really focusing on the positive of it, like maybe somebody would say, I don't know, like I really like what you're doing with this video, like then maybe stick with that, like instead of like saying like, oh, this person hated this video, I need to completely change what I'm doing. So that's kind of where I stand on that.
I mean, with us, like, I think if you're going to listen to the good comments, you have to listen to the bad ones as well, otherwise you'll become, I don't know, like, I guess arrogant in some way, that you're, oh, I'm so great, everyone's telling me I'm great. What about the bad comments? I don't read them.
Well, I like it because my hair sucks.
It's beautiful.
But like, yeah, so like, when you read a bad comment, yeah, take it on board, but don't feel like you have to change anything because of it. And when you read a good comment, it doesn't mean you have to be affected by it in any way. Just kind of take them all in stride, I would say.
And one of my favourites was on our channel, we got told, he goes, I used to like you, but now your videos aren't as good and all that. And I was like, okay, that was a little bit of a weird comment. It was actually sort of, there was a point to it. And I thought I'd check her out. And there are any videos where her playing with a horse in the Sims 3, so mad is it?
You have the power to alter the way that your community talks within itself and towards you. And I think the best response you can have to getting negative comments is to reward the ones you really like. Whether it's constructive criticism or whether it's just positive feedback, like if you reward those comments, that's better than rewarding someone who just like turned you down or something like that. You don't need to foster that. Well. I've dealt with a decent amount of dislike, and I mean, and like, I think what's that?
Brilliant, okay?
I mean,
I give up.
to be honest, it's one of those things I've always told myself, you know, there's a pretty decent line between constructive criticism and just hate. You know, obviously I haven't listened to any of the people telling me I should kill myself or never make music again, because what do I do after people tell me not to make music? I make music responding to them. So, I just think, like, I think almost everyone has said, don't let them get you down. So if someone does say something that's not the most positive, but it's constructive, which I try to think of a better word to describe. You know, feel free to take that advice. I've gotten plenty of advice of how to kind of not change, but perfect and like make my, not just my channel, but just what I want to do much more helpful to me, whether it was about, you know, oh, maybe you shouldn't wear this because it doesn't photograph well, or maybe you shouldn't sing about days of the week. I don't know. I have a question for you, Ben. Okay. So your success kind of just happened like immediately. I think a lot of people have spent like years building on their audience. But I was so impressed with all of the interviews that you did right after it happened, because you seemed so well adjusted and so level-headed about the whole thing. And just like, how do you have that within yourself? Oh, I mean, a lot of, I wouldn't say pretend, but I don't think I'm even right now well adjusted to everything. I just thought, you know, I'm one of those kids where if someone tells me not to do something, it makes me want to do it even more. So, you know, having all these people tell me like how much I sucked or was ugly, you know, fueled you a little bit. It was like adding fuel to the fire. I love singing, and you know, I'm sure there are a fair share amount of you that don't like my singing, but I love it. So I'm in control of my channel, and you know, I've never understood why if you don't like someone's content, you
search out.
Yeah, or you finish watching it. Like if I don't like something, whether it's a song or whatever, I just stop listening or stop watching. I don't know.
That would be logical. Okay, so one more thing before we go. I want to take a picture of all you for my Instagram, so if you want to wave and stuff like that. This is how it starts, folks. Go.
Somebody flip him off.
Make sure you send me all your Instagrams. I will tag each one of you individually. Thank you for coming to this panel, guys.